Welcome everyone to Hike Safely with Your Dog. Tonight's presentation is all about helping you and your dog get ready for a summer of outdoor adventure. It's sponsored by Recreate Responsibly, the Washington Trails Association, King County Search Dogs, Washington State Animal Response Team, and the King County Search and Rescue Association. A special thanks to Jennifer O'Neill of Live Oak Audio Video for helping us with the technology behind our little show. I'm your MC, Leo Notenboom, and like Jennifer, I'm a Wasart volunteer. As the webinar proceeds, please drop your questions into the Zoom Q&A box. We'll be answering those at the end of the presentation. We all want you to have a great experience with your dog out on the trail. We're also keenly interested in making sure you or your dog don't become one of our customers for emergency assistance. Our experts tonight will include Lauren with Washington Trails Association, talking about how to find great hikes for your dog and what you need to know before hitting the trail. John Izant with King County Search Dogs will focus on what you should pack for your pup and how to manage the risks you might encounter. Michaela Eves of Wasart to talk about those worst case scenarios we don't want to see, but need to prepare for anyway. And we'll get started right now with Lauren Drummond of the WTA on researching before you go. Lauren?
Thanks so much, Leo. I'm Lauren with WTA, and if you don't know us, Washington Trails Association is a nonprofit organization that's been mobilizing hikers and everybody who loves the outdoors, including dogs, to explore, steward, and champion trails and public lands way back since 1966. So I've been working about 8 years helping hikers connect to trails here in Washington. And before that, I worked for the Humane Society of the United States. I live, hike, and backpack with a 60-pound mutt named Lula. And as many of my colleagues at WTA will tell you, hiking with my dogs is one of my favorite topics. So I'm thrilled to be here tonight. So when you're a new hiker, whether you're new or you're experienced hiker with a new dog or a hiker with a dog just learning trail manners, knowing where and how to hike with a dog can be a little confusing in Washington. It certainly was for me when I first moved here. So we have so many amazing public lands and thousands of different trails, and the rules and regulations for each can feel a little bit confusing for any hiker, doubly so when you have a dog along. So when you start researching trails, here are a few guidelines to help you narrow down the options. Hiking with dogs is usually allowed in most city and county parks, as well as in state parks and other state lands like on the Department of Natural Resources or DNR lands, as well as most national forest lands, places like Mount Baker Snoqualmie National Forest, Gifford-Pinchot National Forest, Okanagan-Wenatchee or Olympic National Forest. Those are the ones that are around here. And then of course the Colville and there's one in the Southwest. So those are the kinds of lands where you're good to go. The majority of public lands in Washington allow dogs. Where dogs are generally not allowed is on trails that have a slightly different purpose and that are managed that way. Places like national parks or state and federal wildlife refuges, and then some like ecologically sensitive or iconic spots, places like the Enchantments or Mount St. Helens. Though you can camp in most national park and Mount St. Helens car campgrounds with dogs. So there is a little distinction there. You can hike outside those areas. So if you're eager to get a sense of places like Mount Rainier or some of those iconic spots, one of the best views that you can get are often just outside the park. And so look to the edges of these places for great trails. They'll give you great views, but allow dogs. So I say look to the edges, or also I'd encourage you to embrace the meh hikes. Some of the best hikes, most relaxing hikes I've had with my dogs have been on trails that really underwhelmed other hikers. Places that trip reports referred to as a waste of time or that are 2-star hikes, I've had the best time with my dogs. So embrace the edges and look to meh hikes. I'll also mention a few other guidelines to follow in wilderness areas, which you'll mostly encounter in national forests, tend to limit the number of people or heartbeats in a group. Sometimes it's 8, sometimes it's 12, but your dog counts as 1. So that's just a little fact that you might not need to know unless you're backpacking or hiking in a wilderness area. Leash laws vary from trail to trail, but they're required on most trails and trailheads in the state. And Besides the rules, it's just, there are a lot of other good reasons, and we'll get into some of those tonight about leashing up your dog, but it's also just easier to just assume that that's the rule. And then one of those reasons that it is great to have a leash is because it helps you keep track of your dog's waist. The same rules apply to your dog as they do to you, which is bury poop down 6 inches or carry it with you at all times. Don't leave it alongside the trail. So those are kind of the big picture guidelines of where you can go, where you can't. And at WTA, we've got a few handy research tools if you don't know them to help you. So I'm going to buzz through those and things that just help you figure out where you can go and pick a list of hikes. So you can filter hikes on our website in our hiking guide by dog allowed. And on each hike, you can look for the little dogs allowed or dogs not allowed symbol, and that's a good first pass. The land managers, places that I mentioned before, national parks, different state parks, are also listed on every hike. So look for those down by the map. And then trip reports are another really great resource. Filtering trip reports by hike, you can filter each trip report by whether or not folks hiked with a dog. And that's a great way to find ideas and follow other people who have hiked with dogs. You can check conditions on the trails you're considering. And often people will say whether or not the trail was not just dogs allowed, but really good for dogs, dog friendly, like it worked out. Or, if you have a small dog or a large dog, you can look for those trip reports where other people had those and see what kind of experiences they had. It's a great way to share information with each other. And the next time you go out hiking, consider writing a trip report. They're incredibly useful to land managers, to each other, and it's a nice way to pay it forward to the dogs and hikers who go after you. So the last tool that we've got on WTA, and I'll mention, is if you have an account on our site, up in a Little My Backpack account, you can save hikes and check them off as you hike them. There's also this feature where you can just make little notes to yourself, private notes about like good for, Lula, not great for Lula, too rocky if you scout trails and then you want to go back with your dog later. So those are some tools that are on WTA and that can help you sort of research and find all the possibilities where your dog can go in any given corner of the state. And honestly, it's still a lot of trails. So there's a lot more that it makes sense to take into account when you're trying to whittle down where you want to go while you're researching. So not all the hikes where dogs are allowed are necessarily good for all dogs. So you've really got to think about your dog. People often ask me the question of, what's the best hike? And I always respond saying, well, what do you like out of an experience? How far do you like to hike? And I think you have to ask the same question about your dog, who they are and what would make a good fit for them. So the first tip is really to be real about your dog's physical, mental limits. What are they afraid of? 80-pound August there really did have to be carried across multiple bridges because they were afraid of bridges. Is your dog nervous about thunder or gunshots? I had a dog who was, and so we really managed for that when we chose trails. Do you have a puppy who's still growing, or is your dog getting up there in years? We had to really change that over the course of one of my dog's lives, where they could actually go. Do your dogs spend most of their day sleeping on the couch like my other dog? Or are they used to walking multiple miles a day? So think about all of that and your dog's limits. The next thing to think about is really to consider the actual trail itself. Will you need to wade across streams or balance high log bridges? Is the tread likely to be full of rocks, which can be really tough on paws, or will it be like nice, soft, cushy dirt most of the way? How much shade or exposure to sun, especially coming up in the summer, is going to be a really big deal for dogs. The hiking descriptions and trip reports too can really help fill in these kind of questions and give you a sense of what to expect. So the next thing you need to think about is really consider who you're likely to encounter along the way. How many people might be on the trail that day? Has your dog ever met a horse or a llama or a pack goat before? How do they do with bicycles or motorcycles if you're hiking someplace that shares the trail with ORVs? You'll probably encounter some wildlife, some critters, most likely birds, chipmunks, and bugs, but you'll want to be ready for encountering that since you'll need to keep everyone safe in those situations. You'll also encounter other hikers, and lots of them will have other dogs and maybe even kids. So to some dogs, that kid over on the slide that's coming down the trail looks like their new best friend who they want to lick. And to other dogs, it might be a tiny, terrifying monster. So I've hiked with one dog who is reactive to other dogs and one dog who is terrified of children. And now I have a child, but with lots of training and massive amounts of peanut butter and cheese and choosing the right trails, we are still able to enjoy hikes and yield to other hikers and keep everyone feeling really good about sharing the trails as we pass them. So I'll just say that like having your pup on leash is the first best tool you've got for managing each of those encounters and make them really go well. Because I feel like almost every dog has something that they're spooked about or that they're really interested in. And you need to think about that because a trail is a really narrow space. So one tip that I have when it comes to respecting other people's fears, and you don't know what past experiences or cultural perspectives people are bringing to their experiences with dogs on the trail. So you know your dog is very awesome and very friendly, and it's hard to know where other people are coming from. So I like to imagine people are seeing a giant 60-pound spider when they see my dog coming down the trail. And it just that little trick in my mind helps me not take things too personally if someone shies away or acts afraid of my dog. So basically, your dog is an ambassador for all dogs. So I try to make every encounter with my dog a really positive one for everyone I encounter. The last thing you want to think about when you're trying to choose trails and you're researching and you're thinking about what to pack is the seasons and the weather. Things like snow, obviously, or heat in high summer, whether it's hunting season. You know, I mentioned my dog was afraid of gunshots. So that was something that we thought about before we headed out in the fall. Or in August, you know, hornets might be extra defensive of their nests. So really looking for that and listening for that when you're heading out. It shows up in trip reports quite a bit too, so that can be really useful. Right now in spring, you'll really want to be aware of nesting wildlife and unfortunately in a lot of places across the state, ticks. So those are the kind of seasonal considerations you want to think about. So that's just a really broad, quick overview about how to research. And so dogs are the best. Absolutely. You probably wouldn't be here tonight if you didn't think so. Hiking with dogs is the best. It is, you know, just brings something extra to your experiences in nature. And just do your best to try to take any stress out of your hike when you're trying to pick a trail. Choose trails that set you both up for success, especially if you're new to your hiking with your dog journey. Don't be afraid to call things and head back early if you encounter something different than you expected, like a super packed parking lot or a creek running really high, especially in the spring. I often go to an area with a couple of trail ideas in mind, so I always have a backup option and the whole day isn't blown if we need to change our minds. Your leash is going to be a great tool for all kinds of things: practicing trail manners, keeping your dog safe, preventing them from getting lost, keeping others safe. And then, you know, just, you know, it's fun to have them close to you because sometimes they can alert you to things that you might not see otherwise, some cool wildlife, birds, things like that. Definitely invest some time in training on some key trail skills. The basics are going to pay off like really big time. And then you can have more fun bomb-proofing their skills as you hike more together over time. I think training is really fun. So this is a big one for me. I love it. And of course, carry and pack out all of your dog's poop. It's not cool to leave poop bags chilling by the side of the trail. So just carry it with you the whole time. So that's it. It seems like a lot, honestly, but really just a little bit of extra research on the front end and prep is going to make things way more fun and make you and your dog into really great ambassadors for all of canine kind on the trails.
Thanks, Lauren. Next up, a presentation from Sarah Owen of Ahimsa Dog Training to show us techniques to help teach your dog on some key trail skills.
My name is Sarah Owen. I'm a certified professional dog trainer here in Seattle. And I want to talk today about some strategies that you can use to make hiking with your dog a lot more fun for both of you, and to give you some strategies to help keep you and your pup safe when you guys are out on the trail. So we're going to talk today about helping your dog use a cue to come in nice and close to you, to help them move past distractions. We'll use touch for that. We're going to talk about how to get them to station themselves out of the way off the trail, maybe putting their two paws up on something that's just off the trail to get them out of the way of oncoming traffic or out of the way of a distraction. And then we're going to talk about how to use a long line so that your pup has some freedom to roam around on the trail, but you still have a good good handhold on them so that you guys can both enjoy that hike. The easiest way to teach your dog how to stay near you when you guys are out for a hike is teaching them a touch cue. Touch is where your pup comes up and targets your hand with their nose, does a little nose boop on your hand. And it's a nice, simple, easy behavior to teach. Most dogs find it a pretty fun behavior to do. So if you're in a very distracting environment and maybe your dog is too distracted to come or to sit or to lie down, maybe they can't even hear you say their name, often they can do a touch. Teaching a dog how to come towards your hand brings them in nice and close, and it can be a way to either get them to come closer to you, or it can be a nice way to transport them past a distraction. If they know to follow that hand, it'll get them nice and close to you. It'll keep them with you as you guys are in a distracting environment. So it's an easy one to teach using some positive reinforcement strategies. Most dogs know that treats come from our hands, and so they're naturally attracted to our hands. So to teach touch, really all you have to do is present your hand nice and close to your dog's head. And you want to use a hand signal that's a little bit unique. If you use this to mean stay, you don't want to use this. If you use this to mean shake, you don't want to use this. I usually use 2 fingers, or some folks will use a closed fist because those are unique hand signals. And so you just start by just kind of putting your hand nice and close to your dog's head, and they're very likely to turn towards your hand to see, have you got a treat for me? What's going on here? And as soon as they turn toward your hand, you can say yes, and then give them a treat with your other hand. And so they learn to start being attracted toward that hand. And as they get good at this game, as they learn that signal means move toward the hand, you can start adding a little bit of distance, and you can put it on a verbal cue. So you can tell them touch, and that means come and touch your hand with their nose, or boop, or whatever you want to name it. And so now it's a verbal cue, and it means come in nice and close and stick your nose right on my hand. So I'll use that one if I do want to get my dog back close to me. Puppy, touch, and here's my hand, here's the target for you. And then I'll work on using it to move too. So follow my hand as we walk past something. Stationing is a term that I use to mean kind of planting your dog in place somewhere. It's an informal stay. It's the dog choosing to maybe put 2 paws up on some kind of an object that's near you guys. So I'll station a dog on a log or a tree stump, or I'll station a dog on a rock. And all I want is for the dog to put their front 2 paws on that object, and I want them to just stay put there, kind of glue themselves in place. The way that we teach them how to do that, usually I'll just lure them up onto an object. So I'll take a treat and I'll just lure them up with that treat. And once they've got their 2 paws up on that object, I give them a jackpot. So I make that a really rewarding place to be. When you've got your 2 paws up here, you just get a little stream of treats. And the dog starts to think this is a really easy job. And they get a little sticky there. They learn to put their paws up on things and to stay there until I give them a cue, until I say off, or let's go, or let's move along. So teaching them that, hey, there's something for you to put your paws up on, and I want you to hang out there until I tell you it's time to move along. And I, for the life of a dog, I'll pay them for putting their paws up on that object. Again, it's a nice way to plant them in place. So if I'm walking down a trail with my guys, and here comes another dog, here comes a jogger, asking my pups to put 2 paws up on an object that's maybe just off the trail, just off the side of the trail, to get us out of the way while somebody else moves down the trail. So I think probably the most important and challenging skill for people walking their dogs on trails, on hikes, is managing a leash. And because it's so challenging for us, it makes us not want to do it. If you've got your dog on a hike on a regular 6-foot leash, probably neither one of you is having a whole lot of fun. Your dog doesn't have a lot of room to explore. Maybe your dog's pulling you, dragging you down the trail. It's not a lot of fun for either one of you. So learning how to handle a long line, maybe a 15, 20, 25-foot leash, will give your dog room to explore, so your dog's having a good time. And as long as you're comfortable handling that leash, as long as that's a fluent behavior for you, you can enjoy your hike as well. So learning how to handle a long leash so that you guys can both enjoy your hike. I've got, I think this one's a 15-foot line, and it's just a nylon leash, essentially. And I like to stick a carabiner on the handle end, and that way, if I need a shorter leash, I've got the clip attached here, I can come around and maybe attach the carabiner on the front of the harness. So now I've got a shorter leash, and I've even got two handholds on it if I need to get some leverage on my dog. Practice folding it over back and forth. I call that making some bunny ears. Fold over the slack in your hand. And that way, if your dog wants to get a little distance from you, you can let it slide through your hand without getting your hand caught in there, without injuring your hand. And as you get nearer to your dog, you can pick up that slack and keep folding it over in your hand. So using these little bunny ears here as a way to let slack out or pick up that line will keep you from injuring your hand. And so you're just kind of walking along, letting leash out, picking up slack as you go along. So obviously these are just a few very simple, very easy strategies to help make your hikes more enjoyable with your dog, to keep you guys both safe. If you're looking for more in-depth training, if you need a little bit more assistance, look for a certified dog trainer who specializes in using positive reinforcement so that you and your dog are getting the best learning experience you possibly can.
Now it's time to think about preparing for your hike and the hazards you might encounter. To cover that, we'll start with a video from John Izant of King County Search Dogs.
Hi, I'm John Izant from the Search Dog Unit of King County Search and Rescue, and I'm here with Lincoln and with Emmett, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things you want to bring with you the next time you go hiking with your dog. The most important is a leash, and a simple leash, 8 to 12 feet long. Anything longer and you'll find it gets tangled. Retractable leads can be a little bit problematic in terms of being tangled around other dogs or you. And either a nice thick nylon one that won't cut your hands, or one of the artificial material ones, which is great when it's raining. Next very important thing is a collar with ID tags and whatever rabies tags may be necessary. Flat buckle collar like this works very well. Make sure you have it on your dog. You never know when your dog might escape and run away. Next most important thing is water. You can't depend on there being sufficient water, even in the Cascades. And so I bring anywhere from 3 to 4 liters for a full day of hiking. You also want to be sure that your dog is used to drinking out of whatever sort of container you're going to offer them the water in, such as a collapsible bowl like this. Another great option are hydration bladders, and once a dog has learned how to drink out of these, it's a really convenient option. And if you hold the nozzle up above the dog and the dog doesn't have a chance to lick it, it means that you can use the hydration bladder too. Now, of course, all dogs like treats, and it's a great idea to remember to bring along some treats for your dog. It's a great way to help them focus on you, to work on your recall in a new environment, and it's also good because you shouldn't be sharing the treats you might bring for yourself, your snack pack, with your dog. A lot of the things such as raisins or chocolate or any sort of peanut butter product that may have been sweetened with xylitol are actually really toxic to dogs. So remember to bring along your dog's treat bag. Let's think about some of the things you might want to put in your doggy bag as first aid items for when you're out on the trail. One of the most useful is a little bit of vet wrap. It's obviously very tough to put a Band-Aid on a furry dog, But if your dog gets a cut or a scrape, you can put a piece of gauze on it and then wrap it up with vet wrap, and it'll hold on very nicely. Just don't wrap it too tightly because you want it to be a bandage, not a tourniquet. Cut paws are common from sharp rocks or broken glass, and it's great to have some sort of a booty that you can use after you cover the cut so that you can keep it clean. These only cost a couple of dollars. You can even get fleece liners to give it a little bit of cushion, and the dogs get quite used to it and can walk with it all the way back to the car in great shape. I like to be sure I always have some sort of a plier, small plier, or a really good tweezer so that I can pull out any thorns or other embedded objects that the dog may have stepped on. And it's really useful to have a fine-tooth metal comb in case your dog gets any sort of grungy stuff in its coat. More importantly, if you run into hornets, hornets tend to bury themselves in a dog's fur and can sting them later. And so this is great for getting out hornets or ticks or other things like that that you might encounter. If your dog does get stung by hornets, great to have a little bit of Benadryl. 25 milligrams works great for a dog like this of about 70 pounds. It's important to remember not to use any of the analgesics or anti-inflammatories you may have in your own first aid kit. Aspirin is not good for dogs, and Tylenol and ibuprofen are quite toxic for dogs, so don't use those. Always have extra poop bags, and if things get really bad, you may have to carry your dog out. If your dog gets injured or if it runs into problems with heat exhaustion, small dog you can carry out on your own. A larger dog like this is a little bit harder, and it's great to have some sort of a dog sling like this that the dog can slip its legs into, and then you can use these as backpacking strap and easily carry your dog out. Anything else we should tell them? What do you think? Okay, good dogs.
As you may have noticed in the video, harnesses are a great option, especially for dogs like Lincoln who love to pull. Make sure the harness fits properly and padding helps distribute the force evenly. Check that any nylon webbing harnesses don't rub on the shoulder or the upper leg. Another handy first aid item is hydrogen peroxide. Dogs are famous for eating things they shouldn't, and 30 mils of 3% hydrogen peroxide is a good way to induce vomiting in a medium-sized dog. It can also be used to clean dog and human wounds. Consider installing a pet first aid app on your phone, such as the free one from the Red Cross that does not require an internet connection. It can help assess if you have a pet emergency and what to do if you do. A quick pro tip: a list of local 24-hour pet emergency clinics can be a lifesaver in an emergency. And with a bit of internet research, you can assemble a list for your next vacation trip as well. Once you're on the trail, be water wise. Keep your pup hydrated. Be aware of behavioral changes that signal overheating. Dogs can't tell you they don't feel well. Stop, water, and rest your pup, and then return to your car if there are any symptoms of heat exhaustion. Beware of moving water. Many dogs love to swim, but dogs are helpless against even modest river currents. Fallen trees and rocks can injure or trap dogs as well as humans. Consider keeping your dog on a short leash around moving water, regardless of how inviting it seems on a hot summer day. Our search dogs always wear doggy life vests when working near rivers and lakes to keep them safe. Poor water quality is a serious hazard. Coliform bacteria can make dogs and people very sick. Blue-green algae, a type of bacteria, can produce liver and neurotoxins that are fatal in even very small amounts. So never let your dog swim in water with a posted hazard or where you suspect there may be a problem. Look out for the oily surface haze that is characteristic of blue-green algae. It can be a problem throughout the year. Check state and local water monitoring websites, but remember that relatively few lakes are actually tested and bacterial blooms happen quickly. Leptospirosis is a problem and vaccination is wise for any hiking dog in Western Washington. Lastly, many dogs love to swim in Puget Sound, but don't let them drink too much salt water because it too can make them sick. Be mindful of potential trail hazards, especially high angle slopes. Dogs love to run along mountain trails, but like small children, they cannot recognize potential fall hazards. Unlike the dog in the cartoon, dogs do not have thumbs to help them hold on to steep hillsides. So regardless of how long a lead you use, smart dog owners keep their pets on a short leash when near steep slopes where a misstep could have serious consequences. Also, dogs don't have vibram-soled feet, so rocky slopes and steep snowfields are more slippery for dogs than for humans and can result in bad falls or serious paw and leg injuries. When you're on the trail, prevent your dog from chasing wildlife. If your dog chases a deer, it can get lost or hurt. Consider using a bell to make your presence known on wilderness trails and give wildlife a chance to avoid you. If you encounter a coyote, cougar, or bear, control your dog and leave the area immediately. You are guaranteed to encounter other dogs and horses, as well as bikers and hikers on the trail. Remember, as has been mentioned, many people dislike or fear dogs, and they deserve to enjoy their hike without being harassed. Moving off the trail on the downhill side for horses keeps everyone safe. Try to put yourself in between your dog and other animals and distract your pup with toys or treats if it gets excited. Finally, never let your dog run up to play with unknown dogs or people. Reactive or frightened dogs may become aggressive, and you cannot predict what your dog will do. Learn the stiff, erect body language of aggressive dogs to avoid a fight, and if one occurs, never reach in with your hand to stop it. Hiking with dogs is undeniably fun. With preparation and some good decision-making, you can make sure that all your doggy adventures have happy endings.
Thank you, John. Next up, a video from Wasart's own Dr. Jeff Dahl covering medical concerns on the trail.
My name is Jeff Dahl, and I'm a veterinarian, and I'm a member of the Washington State Animal Response Team, or WASART. I'm also a member of Snohomish County Search and Rescue. And I'd like to talk to you about some of the more common medical concerns that we see in dogs that are hiking with their owners. In WASART, we commonly have to hike up trails in the summertime to rescue dogs that have gone over cliffs. Sometimes they're chasing squirrels, or sometimes they just don't realize that the hill is there. And also for dogs that are injured on the trail that can't hike out themselves. We'll go up there and package them up and pack them down to the car. We see a lot of pad issues, we see slivers between the toes, open wounds, infections between the toes that can occur pretty rapidly, and sometimes torn toenails. Each of the paw pads are like little oranges. They have like tough skin on the outside of them with a really sensitive tissue down beneath. And one of the most common things we'll see, especially on a rough trail, is they will gouge pieces out of that heavy peel, puncture it, cut it, but a lot of times just abrade through it and gouge pieces off the surface. And that leaves that underlying sensitive tissue exposed, so they won't want to walk on the paw. One of the primary things in dealing with the paw injuries is to take care of the underlying issue. If there's a sliver, obviously we want to remove that. If there's an open wound, we want to clean that out and cover it up. But really getting a good, comfortable padded bandage on the paw might be the difference between hiking down with your dog and having to have them carried down or having to carry them down yourself. A lot of dogs will wear booties, and that can prevent a lot of the paw problems, but that's something that they have to be fitted for and accustomed to, because a lot of dogs won't tolerate the booties well. If it's a pad issue, we pretty much want to clean out the obvious debris and then put a non-stick pad over the top of the open wound. Cover it with a few layers of cotton wrapping, maybe some gauze over the top of that, and then some vet wrap or sports wrap that you can get over the counter, or even tape. Sometimes even duct tape will toughen up the bandage and help it to stick on the leg a little bit more so it won't slide off. The goal of this is really just to get them back to the car. This is not a long-term treatment. So once you get them back to the car, You can go home, you can take the bandage off, you can get proper wound care, get in and see your veterinarian if you need to, if it seems like something that is a little more than you're able to handle. But bandaging on the trail is about making it comfortable and heading down to the car, and hopefully they can do it under their own power with that bandage. Remember that anytime you're dealing with an injured dog or sore spots, that even the nicest of dogs can become aggressive, or reactive at least. So even with your own dog, it's a good idea to have a muzzle for them. You can either carry a basket muzzle or a nylon muzzle up the trail with you, or you can learn to make an emergency muzzle out of webbing or shoelaces or something like that. But that's something you want to practice before you get on the trail. It's best to avoid hiking in the heat of the day. Heat stress or heat exhaustion can ruin your day, even if your dog's in the best condition. It's also important to be considerate of your dog's breed. The brachycephalic breeds, such as the bulldogs and the boxers, have underlying respiratory conditions anyway, and heat stress can come about much more easily in those breeds. Same goes for the long-haired, larger breeds like Akitas and Newfoundlands. They're much more susceptible to the heat in hiking. At the very first signs of heat stress, which might be excessive salivation, excessive panting, trembling, or any signs of weakness, and sometimes even vomiting and diarrhea, it's really important to get your dog into the shade, stop hiking, and get them cooled down. The best way to do that is to pour water over their coat, primarily over the trunk and the neck, but especially on their underside. And we want cool water and not cold water. If you have alcohol swabs, you can wipe down their pads, armpits, and groin. That'll help bring down their body temperature also. When you've had time with your dog in the shade and you feel he's fully recovered, he's not drooling anymore, he's not trembling, he looks more alert, not excessively panting, and has had time to hydrate, it's best to slowly return to the car. Heat stress can rapidly evolve into heat stroke, which is a much more vitally important medical issue and can be lethal if it's not dealt with. If when you get in the shade with your dog and you start trying to cool them down, they actually seem to be getting worse rather than better, it's important to get them to the car as soon as possible and get them to the emergency veterinarian. And that means pretty much carrying them to the car while trying to keep them cool along the way. You're not going to be able to force them to walk back down. Of course, when you get home from your hike, if there's any lasting concerns, open wounds, chronic limping, head shaking, vomiting, or diarrhea, it's important to schedule an exam with your veterinarian and find out what's going on. But by all means, have fun hiking with your dog, and for everybody's sake, remember to pack out the poop bags.
Next up, it's Michaela Eves to tell us a story and help us prepare for and think about what to do when something goes wrong. Michaela?
Thanks, Leo. I'm Michaela with the Washington State Animal Response Team. We're the people that go out and rescue companion animals like dogs and livestock from emergency situations. Since we've gotten a lot of information, I thought we could end with a story. First, I want to tell you a little bit about Wasart. We're all volunteer, as are all the organizations in this presentation. We are 501c3. We are similar to search and rescue, but we don't do the search part, we just do the rescue part. And we do a lot of stuff with emergency situations and disasters, such as flooding, fires, and the stuff that we're going to talk about today. Our most common customers are dogs and horses, and with dogs that tends to be cut paws, burn paws, heat exhaustion, and dogs who've fallen over cliffs. Those are the most frequent types of things. So today I wanted to talk to you about this rescue we had up at Gothic Basin. It is a trail that is in Snohomish County here in Washington, and Gothic Basin is one of the names, but there are a few other names that you may be familiar with if you have hiked in that area. We've been here a few times on rescues. There's no cell service. The geography changes for the worse the higher up you get. Dogs and owners that get into trouble here don't really have an easy time getting help. In this case, a man and his dog had gone up intending just to take a day hike of Gothic Basin. Near the top, Coden, the dog, injured his paws on some sharp rocks and was unable to walk. The owner ran into a small party that had a Garmin InReach, which is the orange device that you see here. The strangers activated the InReach. The people at Garmin contacted the Snohomish County Sheriff, who contacted us. We weren't able to get started until the next day because it was late by the time we got that call. So Coden and his owner stayed the night with the party they'd met that made the call for them. The next day, we assembled at the trailhead. A couple of words about these pictures, actually. You can see Dr. Dahl from the last video here. He is wearing the pool noodles. And next to that is Jennifer from Live Oak Audiovisual, who's running the webinar for us. So we got ready and headed up the trail. This trail seems okay, and then it gets steep, and then it gets even more steep until you think it's not going to get any steeper, and then it does, and then the switchbacks give up and you're just climbing on your hands and knees up large boulders. On the way up, we discussed how we would work on getting Coden down if he couldn't walk. The farther up we got, the more we became concerned that we would need more people to assist if we needed to put him in the litter, which is the orange item in pieces you see on the backs of Dr. Dahl and Aaron here. We'd likely need to spend the night, and while we sent messages back via the inReach back to our volunteer who was running the show from her home in Bonnie Lake. Our plan A, however, was to try bandaging his paws first to see if he could walk out. Finally, we got to Coden, who was resting off the trail. We met up with his owner, Coden, and 3 other people who were helping out the pair. Coden was reluctant to do anything but lay down. It was pretty clear when we tried to get him to walk around that his paws were causing him a lot of pain. They were damaged from the sharp rocks, and the hike down on those paws would be extra painful, as well as possibly do more damage to him. In these photos, Dr. Dahl is bandaging his paws with socks, vet wrap, also known as Coban, duct tape, and feminine hygiene products. We have a video on how to do this for yourself in the notes that we'll email to you, and we'll email those to you for those of you watching, and we'll add it to the permanent link for those of you who are viewing the recorded version of this. A note about the muzzle. Coden was a very sweet dog and very tolerant of us. It's our policy to put a muzzle on for everyone's safety because we don't know how a particular dog in a bad situation will react. And it removes the stress from the volunteer about judging the situation when they are already making a lot of other judgment calls. So we headed down the path. Coden was very tentative at first, but realized this was acceptable. We put a harness on him with a long line so we could act as brakes for him when we needed to go down a steep slope, which ended up working really well. We were also very relieved we didn't need to carry him out. This hike crosses a number of very shallow creeks, and in each one, Coden lay down and cooled off. Here he is, and Dr. Dahl is using a bowl to pour water on his back in one of these creeks. At the trailhead, we took a rest and some pictures, and look at what a happy guy he is. He was a really great dog, and it was a pleasure to be able to help him out. Oh yeah, and this trail, we have been on it twice before. I wanted to show you something about one of the other times. Here, this guy, I think his name was Blitz, what you see here is some of our responders who ended up carrying him down along with some other hikers they met on the trail. We were so grateful for the help. In the picture wearing the yellow helmet is Leo, our MC for the night. And then in this picture, to the left is the picture we took of the Coden rescue, and to the right is the picture taken during the Blitz rescue. Needless to say, when you get to this point of the hike, it's an intimidating view, especially when you don't know how much further it is to go, and you know you have to climb up all those rocks. So back to Coden. Here's the last picture of our adventure team. We're happy to say the owner took him to the vet right away, and he made a full recovery. This brings me to what to do when things go wrong, which very occasionally they do. Let's see. What to do when things go wrong. Prep. Obviously, prep what you can before you get going. And do whatever, take care of whatever you can so you're not going to get into a situation. Don't panic. This seems like very simple advice, but really just like 10 seconds of pausing to evaluate the situation and the safety should be helpful for you in not getting yourself into a situation as well. You're probably going to need to get help. This might be help from someone else. And understand that this help may take some time. It may be that you have to spend the night there. It may be that it's going to take 4 hours for search and rescue to help get to you. So settle in and everyone will take care of things as quickly as they can. Hopefully this helps. We hope you have a great time with your hiking buddies, and we look forward to seeing your pictures online. Although if we are here, we need to see you in, sorry. We look forward to seeing your pictures online, and we will see you in person if we need to, but hopefully it will not be that way. Yeah. Back to you, Leo.
Thanks, Michaela. I've noticed that a couple of folks have asked about the slides during Michaela's presentations. There actually isn't anything going on special about her presentations or the others. It's probably a Zoom thing on your end. The good news here is that we absolutely are recording this, and a full recording will be made available at some point in the next day or two. So you'll be able to see if you weren't able to. So with that out of the way, let's look at some of those questions you've been asking. First up, can you share tips on how you managed that reactive to other dog that you used to hike with? Lauren, that's one for you.
Yeah, my dog Lula is reactive to dogs. And the first thing that we did was we worked pretty intensively with a trainer to get, she's reactive everywhere. And so we worked in the neighborhood a lot before we took her on any trails. We got to the place where we could manage her pretty carefully. And we had her, trained to follow really well. And we could pull her off to the side if we needed to and sit her down and stuff her face full of peanut butter. The trainer also recommended a few tools for us to use, a basket muzzle, a calming cap is made by Thunder Shirt. That just sort of helps reduce stimulation. And then the other thing is she's always on leash, and we always choose trails that aren't going to stress her out. So we try to hike in the middle of the week when we can, and we try to hike on really boring, far away trails in weird times. And, and sometimes we leave her at home, honestly. If there's a trail I want to do, or, it's just not going to be a good fit for her, we leave her at home. She's fine. She sleeps all day on the couch. She's great. So, but I would start with a trainer. That would be the best thing, and try to get the behavior managed before you try to manage it on a really narrow trail.
Excellent. Thanks, Lauren. So we've had several questions about this. Can you respond to why you don't recommend a retractable lead? John, that's for you.
Retractable leads can be a great tool. They are often fine around the neighborhood. The big problem comes when you're out on a trail, getting the line wrapped around vegetation, around other dogs. On most retractable leads, the line is fine enough that once it gets tangled up, it's really hard to untangle it as compared to a normal leash. So most people end up being happier with a longer lead.
All right, thanks, John. How do you start getting a puppy ready to hike? Michaela, you want to take that one?
Sure. First of all, check with your veterinarian to make sure that the puppy is ready to hike. There is some guidance that says, I believe, 5 minutes per month of age is the length of time that you want to give them much exercise for that sort of thing. For older dogs, make sure that you're building up their endurance. They get out of shape just like people do. They are not going to complain like we very much enjoy doing, but they will go until they just lay down and they can't go anymore. So really build up their tolerance. This also helps build up their paw pads. I know that there's a little bit of discussion about booties. Keep in mind that the only place that dogs sweat is through their paws. So if you're putting them into booties, you're taking away some of that airflow possibilities with that. Whatever you need to do, then you're just going to need to take your time training your dog, and both of you getting into good shape, and just really paying attention to everybody.
Thanks, Michaela. That's a great segue. The next question is, when or do you recommend dogs ever wearing booties, like when they're in really rocky areas? John, that's for you.
I think that in very rough terrain, it can be helpful, but just as with getting your dog conditioned to go longer distances hiking, part of the secret is making sure your dog has become accustomed to walking on tougher and tougher surfaces. You don't want to start off doing a 20-mile hike on very rocky surfaces and expect that your dog is going to do well. Yeah, the smart thing is to just keep an eye on your dog and to have some sort of simple booty ready to go. The ones that I usually carry really do just cost a few dollars, and if one gets into trouble, you can put them on. It does signal it's time to go back to the car though. But once the dog is built up enough, we find they can go 20 to 30 miles in a day on fairly rocky terrain and be just fine. So the bottom line is keep an eye on your dog's feet as well as its hydration.
Great. Lauren, Could you talk a little bit about the pros and cons of packs for your dog to wear?
Sure. I think, the question about the puppy is one thing that as your dog is growing, that's, maybe not a time for them to wear a pack. So check in with your vet and just be sure that they're at a good weight and age. And then you want to get them used to it. Make sure it's something that they like and makes them feel good. Some dogs feel really proud when they have their pack on and they love it. I think, probably the biggest advantage is that they can carry their own poop. That's, you don't have to do it if that's a thing that you don't want. But it might not be right for all dogs, even larger dogs. One of my dogs has a tendency to sprain her tail, and pack aggravates that. So we just left that off. We gave our packs away and we just haul all of her stuff because it helps that. I think one other advantage, if you have a bigger dog who's very friendly, but maybe intimidating looking, sometimes a pack can make them look friendly. You can make it totally empty, but that might reduce the fear for other users. So there are lots of reasons that packs can be great. I wouldn't count on your dog to carry a bunch of stuff right off the bat. I think, maybe a little bit here and there, but it's really getting them used to it and seeing if it suits them before you try to load them down.
Cool. Thank you. Michaela, this one's headed your way. How do you calm a dog that's in serious pain while you wait for help? What if you have to restrain them for their own safety? Any prescription pain meds to hike with?
Sure. Let me take the last part of that first. So because we're not veterinarians, we're not going to necessarily advise for a particular pain medication. However, you should definitely check with your vet because they will be able to help you out with any medication that is particularly suited for your dog. It might be that your dog has arthritis as well or something. So there may be some specialty medication that you can take with you there. In terms of keeping your dog calm, your dog is going to take its cues from you. If you yourself are calm and you're sitting there and not freaking out, then the dog will likely just kind of hang out with you and just curl up and tolerate the situation. For restraint, I would recommend you learn how to make an emergency muzzle, which is you can find different versions of that online. You usually use a soft strap or webbing or something that is only for very temporary times because your dog can't necessarily pant with that. But you may also want to, if you know your dog is the sort to become agitated when it is in pain, then you may want to bring a basket muzzle along with you. And then in that case, all your dog can do really is dolphin punch you if it's trying to be reactive to the pain.
Great. So what do you do if you encounter wildlife when you're out with your dog? John, this one's for you.
I think it's important to remember that for most things you're going to run into, you and your dog are going to come off second best. So it's best to just try and avoid any sort of intimate contact. Deer and elk can hurt your dog. Clearly, on those very rare occasions where you might come across a coyote or bear or a cougar, the thing to do is get your dog fully under control. You don't want it barking. You want it right next to you, and leave the area, preferably by backing away. Don't try to antagonize or threaten unless the animal actually attacks you, which is very, very rare.
Okay. Let's see. This one, Lauren. The best way to let your dog roam the campsite, but not bolt. Use a tie down or a zip line or something?
Yeah, I do a couple of things. If we're car camping, then if I just have one dog, I'll just make a high line, sometimes using the car or another tree if there's a structure in the campsite. So they have a little bit of room to roam, but they're restrained within the campsite. At a trailhead, we keep a short leash, a 2-foot leash in the back of our hatchback so that I can keep the hatchback open and keep it nice and cool on hot summer days, but our dogs stay back there and they can't jump down. I like that for, water bowls or something like that, rather than letting them sort of roam around the car where there might be other people. And then in the backcountry, we just take an extra piece of rope, or if we're, doing luxury backpacking and we have a hammock, then we'll tie to the hammock. And it's, give them 6 or 10 feet, but just something that keeps them well within the space of our campsite so we can manage anything that happens, like a chipmunk darting here or there.
Great. John, I've been asked to talk a little bit more about horse encounters specifically.
And those can happen in some city parks as well as wilderness areas. One has to remember horses are animals too, and they have all sorts of different personalities, and some of them are quite reactive. So in general, try to get control of your dog, try to get off the trail to let the horse pass. In general, it's better if you go on the downhill side of the horse if you have an option. One of the thoughts is that horses think anything above them might be a predator, but they do tend to be a little bit calmer if you're on the downhill side.
Thanks, John. Michaela, I know the answer to this one, but I'll give it to you anyway. Are there similar volunteer organizations that you know of in other states?
In some cases, yes, and in some cases, no. We are lucky that Oregon has OSTAR, which is Oregon Humane Society. That is sort of in the North Oregon, Portland area. And we will often work with other states in terms of assisting with discussion and ways to help. In the Southeast, we have Large Animal Rescue. That is similar to us, but for the most part, there aren't very many organizations like us at all.
Lauren, how do you sleep with a dog in your tent in a chigger tick area?
Yeah, our oldest dog was adopted in West Virginia, and so which is especially ticky. So we started out learning how to do that. So we had a protocol, just sort of like we did with us, that before we brought our dogs into the tent, we would do as much as possible a tick check and just try to pull as many off as we can and brush them. He actually loved it. He would just like belly flop down and be like, yeah, do it. Now, we just brush through a little bit if we know we've been wading through a place with ticks. And then obviously, we make sure that we have our tick medication up to speed before we head out, especially this time of year in spring. But we just make it a part of our coming in the tent, just like we do for, people. We do a tick check on ourselves and on the dogs. And also that if you have a pack, on packs too.
So the last question for tonight, Michaela, what do you do if your dog gets bitten by a snake?
Thanks, Leo. It's similar to the way that you would handle the way a person gets bit by a snake, which would be with training that you get according to first aid classes that you have hopefully taken. So there are a number of first aid classes that you can take. There is the app that you can download that John referred to, which was the Red Cross app. But in general, you should probably take your dog immediately to the vet. How it is treated is going to be dependent on what snake it is. So if you did see the snake, try and identify it or whatever you can to let the vet know what kind of snake it was. If it's something like a rattlesnake, it may be dependent on if there is any anti-venom available. It is something that they do not necessarily keep in stock, and maybe there's one or two like in the area that they may or may not be saving for human reasons. So that's going to be a case-by-case basis. So in short, get some training and then get your dog out of there. Hopefully carrying if you can.
So that's all the time we have for questions tonight. Obviously, the organizations and the folks we're talking to here tonight are available through various means, email, websites, and so forth. We've got links to that coming up. I want to thank everyone for attending. There will be a recording of this available in case there's something you'd missed or that you'd like to revisit. There'll also be a follow-up email to everybody who registered with the links we've mentioned tonight, and we'll also be providing information at wta.org/dogs. Yes, hiking with your dog can be a fun experience, but it also adds a new layer of responsibility to your adventures. Hopefully, we've given you some tips and information you can use to prepare before you head out this summer to have fun and keep yourself and your pet safe outdoors. Remember, that's wta.org/dogs. Thanks again for attending, and thanks to all of our experts and sponsors. Just a reminder that all of these groups are nonprofits that rely on your support. Please consider making a donation before you and your pup head out on your next hike. Good night, everyone.